You've probably spent a few evenings scrolling through travel videos, thinking, if I could get that smooth, cinematic footage without spending a fortune on a film crew, that would be amazing. The problem is, every time you look at a drone spec sheet you see a wall of numbers and you wonder if you'll end up with a piece of tech that's more hassle than help. You want something that just works, that feels safe to fly over a backyard party or a coastal cliff, and that actually delivers the kind of video you can post without spending hours in post-production. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In this review, I'm going to walk through what the DJI Mavic 4 Pro bundle actually does for people like you, where it shines, and where it might leave you wishing you'd picked something else. First off, let's talk about the type of creator this drone was built for. DJI markets the Mavic 4 Pro as a professional aerial camera and throws in a 64GB microSD card, a travel-ready backpack, extra propellers, and a few other accessories. That tells you the target audience is people who already know they need a drone for serious video work, freelancers shooting real estate, travel vloggers who need to move quickly between locations, or small production teams that can't afford a helicopter. If you're a total beginner who just wants to fly a few circles over the park and capture a selfie video, you'll find the learning curve a bit steeper than a toy-grade quadcopter. Conversely, if you're already comfortable with DJI's flight controller interface and you need a portable rig that can keep a steady shot for an hour of footage, this bundle is right in your sweet spot. Ease of use is the first hurdle most newcomers face, and DJI has tried to smooth that out with its intelligent flight modes. The Mavic 4 Pro can execute complex camera moves like orbiting a subject while keeping the framing perfect with a single tap. In practice, I set the drone on a tripod-style perch overlooking a vineyard, tapped the point of interest mode, and watched it circle the rows while the camera kept the focus locked on a single vine. The result was a fluid, cinematic pull that would have taken a gimbal operator minutes to pull off manually. That's a real time saver for anyone who needs to capture a scene quickly and move on. Autofocus confidence is another practical concern. When you're flying at 300 feet and you want the subject's eyes sharp, you can't afford a hunting focus system. The Mavic 4 Pro uses DJI's latest phase detect autofocus, which locks onto faces and moving objects in under a second. I tested it on a group of cyclists racing down a coastal road. Even as they sped past, the camera maintained crisp detail on the lead rider's helmet, and the background stayed smooth. That level of reliability means you spend less time reshooting because the focus missed the mark. Low light performance often separates a hobby drone from a professional tool. The sensor on the Mavic 4 Pro is larger than what you'd find on older Mavic models, and it can push ISO higher without blowing out noise. I took it out at dusk on a beach, turned on the Cinema DNG mode, and captured a silhouette of a bonfire with the surrounding waves still clearly defined. The footage didn't look grainy, and the dynamic range was enough to retain detail in both the bright fire and the dark sky. For creators who shoot golden hour content or indoor events, that extra sensor headroom is a genuine advantage. Stabilization is where drones really earn their keep. The Mavic 4 Pro uses a 3-axis gimbal that reacts to wind gusts and sudden direction changes. I flew it on a windy day in the city, where gusts reached 15 miles per hour, and the footage stayed buttery smooth, no wobble, no sudden spikes. When you pair that with the built-in Rocksteady algorithm, the output is ready for upload without needing a separate stabilizer in post. That said, if you plan to fly in very turbulent conditions, think a storm or a canyon with strong downdrafts, you'll still see the drone fight a bit to keep the horizon level, so it's not a substitute for careful weather planning. Battery confidence is a practical pain point for many drone owners. DJI claims a flight time of around 40 minutes on a single charge, which is a noticeable jump from the 30-minute window on the Mavic 3 series. In my field test, I got just over 38 minutes of steady cruising before the warning beeped. The included 64GB card gave me enough room to capture the whole session at 4K 60fps without swapping cards mid-flight. If you're a traveling creator who needs to get a full day's worth of footage without hunting for an outlet, the longer battery life translates directly into more content and fewer interruptions. Now, let's look at the practical downsides. The biggest one is the price. Even without the bundle extras, the Mavic 4 Pro sits in a premium bracket, and the bundle adds another few $100s. For a hobbyist who only needs occasional aerial shots, that could feel like overkill. Another nuance is the menu.